Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one today. I'm going to be talking about 3 surprises and 3 disappointments so far to start this NBA season. We're about 2 weeks in to the NBA year. A lot of stuff has happened. We've been keeping up with it on this channel. But today we're going to be talking about surprises and disappointments so far to start this year. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitters, all that stuff down in the description below. And don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start with a surprise. Surprises here. And when I talk about surprises and disappointments, maybe it's more for me, like things that I didn't expect coming into this season. But I also think these are more general things that maybe a lot of people didn't expect. So first surprise is the Golden State Warriors are really, really good. Like, they're not just good, they are very, very good so far to start this year. Coming into this season, a lot of people weren't really high on the Warriors. They lost Klay Thompson. The roster does not look great, especially compared to a lot of the other teams of the Western Conference. Me personally, I was kind of in the middle. I didn't think they're going to be bad and miss the playoffs and miss playing entirely, but I didn't think they're good enough to be a top seed. I project them to be around a 9-10 playing team. But so far this year, they've gone off to an amazing start. They're 6-1. They are 6-1, and they have looked really good. Now, granted, the level of competition they have played has not been amazing. Looking at their games they played this year, it's been against the Blazers, the Jazz, the Clippers, New Orleans twice, Houston, and Washington. So not the greatest competition. Only one of those teams is above 500. So not the greatest level of competition, and it's about to get very hard very soon in a couple games. But all that being said, they've still been coming out and taking care of business at 6-1. It's been their top 3 offense and a top 2 defense, and number 1 in net rating right now in the league. It's been on both sides really. I mean, look at their offensively. They're 3rd in points per game, only behind Boston and Cleveland. They're in the top 10 in field goals made, attempted, field goal percentage. Threes, they're tied for 2nd in 3-pointers made, 4th in 3-pointers attempted, 4th in 3-point percentage. So they're not just getting up threes, they're also making threes at 39% clip. They're also been really good team rebounding. They're leading the league in 49 rebounds per game. So they're capitalizing, getting rebounds, getting offensive rebounds as well. They're also top 3 in assists because the Warriors always are. Steals and blocks are top 5 as well. It's just they've been doing it all over the place. Defensively, I feel like defensively they've just been absolutely amazing. I mean, in terms of opponent stats, they're 3rd in opponent field goals made. They're 2nd in opponent field goal percentage. Teams are shooting 41% against them. Threes, they're 1st in opponent 3-pointers made, and they're 1st in opponent 3-point percentage. Teams are only shooting 28% from 3 on them. So they're giving up, the least allowed amount of 3-pointers made. Despite them, they're top 10 in 3-pointers attempted in opponents, but teams are not making threes on them. So their teams are just not shooting them out the gym, which is a big thing. Opponent points per game, they're 2nd. They're averaging only 104 points allowed per game. Everything's been clicking for this Golden State Warrior team. It just feels like everybody has been involved. It hasn't been. A lot of people thought coming into this year it was going to have to be the Steph Curry show. It's going to have to be Steph Curry putting up an MVP year and everybody else just kind of falling in line. Well, it has been that. Steph's averaging 19, 5, and 6. Decent efficiency. But he's also missed 3 games due to an ankle injury, and the Warriors went 3-0 in those 3 games that Steph missed. That's not something they could have said very often. In previous years, they showed stats and stuff where the Warriors they're horrible without Steph, which makes sense. He's their star player. But they're 3-0 without Stephen Curry. It just feels like everybody on both ends is contributing all over the place. Their leading scorer, Buddy Hield, is leading the team in scoring. Buddy Hield is leading this team. Not Steph, not Wiggins, not Jonathan Kuminga. Buddy Hield is averaging 22 points per game on 51, 50, 85 shooting splits. He's shooting 50% on 9 attempts per 3. Is that going to stay like that the entire year? No. But he has been such a huge spark plug off the bench. Like, he comes in off the bench, and it just feels like they run plays for him. He's making everything that happens, whether it's a 3, it's a mid-range. He's coming in and, bringing a lot of shot making to this team. Andrew Wiggins looks revitalized. He's missed a couple games, but in his games he has played, he's averaging almost 16 and 5 with a block per game on 44% shooting from 3. He's had some good moments. Jonathan Kuminga started off not great. His first couple games as a starter were not really that good. They moved him to the bench, and in those 4 games, that he was coming off the bench, he's averaging about 18 points per game with 5 rebounds on 50% shooting. So maybe Jonathan Kuminga is just a bench piece. Maybe he's just a six man. That's just what his career is gonna be. You know, but he has been good in his bench minutes. Moses Moody is getting opportunity. He's shooting the ball at 48% clip. Draymond Green is averaging 9, 5, and 4 with a block. He's been playing some amazing defense. He's been the backbone of this defense. While shooting 52% from three. Even Brandon Bajemski, even though he's not shooting the ball super well, he's been doing everything else. He's been a plus minus machine. You even got guys like Lindy Waters is coming in and making plays. Kevon Looney is back to his old self. Kyle Anderson is coming in and fitting into the system. Gary Payton. It just feels like Trayce Jackson-Davis. How can I forget Trayce Jackson-Davis shooting 73% from the field? He's just been a monster around the rim. It feels like everybody on this team is contributing in some way. There hasn't been one guy that's just been sitting back and not doing anything on the court. Every time someone gets on the court, they're making an effort and making a contribution, whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end. And that is great for this Warrior team. With this type of team that, again, isn't as star-studded as maybe a Timberwolves or a Thunder or teams like that, it's been a team effort. And they haven't been having to run Steph Curry into the ground like a couple other teams have been running their star players into the ground, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It's been fun to watch. It's been great to watch. Now, again, the schedule has not been crazy. It's been an easy schedule to start. It's going to get a lot harder. The next 3 games they play is Boston, Cleveland, and OKC, the 3 best teams in the league. So we're really going to see how this team fares and how real this team is. But so far, they've been very surprising. Next, we've got our first disappointment of the year, and this is no surprise to anybody. The Milwaukee Bucks are horrible. This has been the biggest talk in the NBA basically this season is that the Milwaukee Bucks are terrible. And eventually I'm going to make a full video about it soon, but it's been very bad. It has been very bad. They are 1-6. They have tied for the worst record in the NBA with the Utah Jazz. And that's a problem. They won their first game against Philly and have not won a game since. It's been really tough. Looking at their ratings, they are the 20th rated offense and the 22nd rated defense, and they are 24th in net rating. That combination of stats doesn't lead to a lot of wins. That usually are teams that are playing or 38, 39 win teams. That's not a team like the Milwaukee Bucks has trying to win an NBA championship. It's just everything has just been bad for this Bucks team. I mean, you look at all their numbers. It's not good. They are super slow. They're maybe the oldest team in the NBA still, and they show it because they don't have any pace. They don't have any young players running up and down the court. It feels like every loose ball, every extra possession, other teams are getting it just because they're quicker and faster than the Milwaukee Bucks. And no one else is really contributing besides Giannis and Dame. Giannis and Dame have been statistically at least really good. They had a game against the first game against the Cavaliers. They combined for 75 points and lost. They're both averaging almost 30 points per game this year, and they are losing games because no one else can do anything on this court. Gary Trent Jr. has been very bad. He's been very bad. Taurean Prince is there, I guess, but he's not doing much. Brook Lopez does not look like the same Brook Lopez at all. It looks like Brook Lopez has taken the drop that maybe many people expected the last couple of years. He's taken that drop because he's not really effective as much as he used to be anymore. The bench doesn't provide anything at all. Bobby Portis can give you some numbers, but at the end of the day, it's not like he's going to make a huge difference, And then everybody else, like Pat Connaughton, doesn't move me. DeLon Wright doesn't really do too much. Andre Jackson brings a lot of energy, and he tries, but at the end of the day, he's still not a guy you have to rely on the offensive end. He's not a guy you should rely on the offensive end. AJ Green is a three-point shooter, but he just started getting minutes against the Cavaliers the second game. We hit 7 threes. It's like nothing works. Nothing's working for this Bucks team. We know the defense was not going to be their strong suit, obviously. They're a team that they play drop coverage. They allow threes to just get chucked up. I really want to look at opponent stats really quick while I have it up and just see where they are. In terms of opponent field goal percentage, they're almost at the bottom 5. Opponent threes, they are 26 in opponent three-pointers made. They allow 14.7 three-pointers made per game. Three-point attempts, they're bottom 10. They average 39. Teams are shooting 39 threes per game on them. And in terms of three-point percentage, 26. Teams are shooting 37% from 3. against them. So it's just teams are just letting the threes fly against them. You know, opponent rebounds per game, opponent defensive rebounds specifically. Teams are 20. They're 27th in opponent defensive rebounds. So teams are they're not getting offensive rebounds. Basically, the Bucks are not getting offensive rebounds. Teams are collecting that board after one shot and going. You know, opponent turnovers per game. They're last in forcing turnovers. They're averaging 11 turnovers per game, forced turnovers per game, which is the worst in the league. So they're not getting offensive rebounds and they're not getting turnovers. So they're not getting extra opportunities and extra possessions at all to do anything with. They're yeah, it's been bad. It's been really bad. You know, opponent points per game, they're allowing 118 points per game. They're allowing more points per game than the 76ers without Joel Embiid, than the Kings, than the Nets, than the Blazers. Like this it's been pretty bad. You know, and of course you got the whole now the Giannis floodgate has been opening with, you know, potential trade destinations and trade rumors. Like all of that has been opening up, and that's going to be talked about in when I make a video about the Bucks at some point. But it's bad because there's no like path they can take really to change this. Like they can't make a move, they can't really make a trade. Are they gonna fire Doc Rivers? I guess, but if you fire Doc Rivers, who is coming in and changing and helping this team? Like it's not like you can't really do anything. This is what this team is. This is what they have to be. Chris Middleton hasn't played yet, so is Chris Middleton gonna be the savior of this team? I'm not betting money on it. Like it's been really bad to watch. You know, like I don't know how you fix this team. Like, of course, they're not going to go 1-81. Obviously, they're going to win a couple games. They have Giannis and Dame. Sometimes they're going to win if they combine for 70 points. You know, it's not going to happen all the time. Sometimes they're going to have to win games like that. But in terms of winning a championship, this team is nowhere near contention right now. Nowhere near it. Like, right now, they're not even a playoff lock. Right now, like, you want to lock them, but right now, they're not even a playoff top 6 lock the way they've been playing right now. So they got to figure something. They got to just either a move is gonna have to a big move maybe. I don't know how they can do it, but some move is gonna have to be made, or they're just gonna have to someone's gonna have to light a fire under them, and they're gonna have to come out guns blazing for the next couple months. Because the way this team is playing, it's been really really bad. My next surprise of the year are the Brooklyn Nets are competent. They are actually a competitive team. Coming into the season, obviously, no one had any expectation for the Brooklyn Nets. Everybody thought the Nets are going to be worst, if one of the worst, if not maybe the worst team in the NBA this year, with the amount of talent they have, going into a rebuild. Finally, have their own draft pick, so it's like, you know, we could get a Cooper Flag, we can get an Ace Bailey, we can get a Dylan Hart, we can get a star maybe to build this team around. And everyone thought it was going to be just a tanking year. No one is going to watch the Brooklyn Nets. Well, so far through 8 games, they're 4-4 and have some quality W's. Like looking at their schedule, they've beaten the Milwaukee Bucks, which I guess isn't really that hard now. They beat the Grizzlies twice. They beat the Chicago Bulls. They went to overtime with the Denver Nuggets. Like they have gotten some good wins, and they've been a very competitive team. Offensive team, a top 10 offense right now in the NBA. And looking at all their statistics, they're in the bottom or the top half of the league in a lot of things in terms of field goal percentage, threes attempted. They're top 10. You know, not just outside the top 10 in percentage, but they're taking threes and making threes. Like they've been doing a lot of different things, and they've been a lot more fun. They're projected. They've been a team that has been in the clutch. I feel like every game they've played this year has gone down in the last 5 minutes. You know, Cam Thomas, he's always had a leash on him in a sense of like he's had a little bit of stretches, but we haven't seen a full just him going. We have, and right now he's averaging 25, 3-3 on not amazing efficiency, but it's Cam Thomas. Like, come on, we're not expecting Cam Thomas to have a 50, 40, 90 season with the shots he takes. But Cam Thomas averaging 25 points per game. I think he's leading the league. I don't know if he's still, but I think he's leading the league in like fourth quarter scoring. So he might be a clutch player of the year candidate. Like he's been kind of all-star like. Dennis Schroeder has been a big revelation. He's averaging 20 points per game, 7 assists on 50, 40, 85. He has been very good. That backcourt has been one of the best backcourts in the league this year in terms of they're just getting buckets. Cam Johnson, especially the last couple games, has been really stepping it up. He's shooting 36% from three, averaging 16 points per game. Dwayne Finney-Smith is giving you some top production. Nick Claxton has gotten better as the season's progressed. Even guys like Zaire Williams and Jalen Wilson have given them some games off the bench that have been solid. Zaire Williams is shooting 39% from three, give you 9 points per game. Jalen Wilson has been solid. Ben Simmons has had his moments here and there. He's averaging 5, 6, and 6. So there's been some good things about this Nets team. Like their guards are the team leaders. Those two have really been aggressive and really been controlling this team. Then when you get a Cam Johnson performance, a Dorian Finney-Smith hitting 4 threes, Zaire Williams and Jalen Wilson doing some things off the bench, Ben Simmons giving you, a good near triple-double watch, Nick Claxton giving you some good production off the bench or starting. Like, it's been really solid to watch. Honestly, I've been watching a lot more, like 10 times more Brooklyn Nets so far this year than I thought I would. Like, it's actually been fun watching Cam Thomas go off, watching Dennis Schroeder have big games. Like, it's been really fun, and now it's gonna be very interesting because they're 4-4 right now. It's only 8 games. They have what 74 games left to play in this season, obviously. So a lot can change with this team, but it's just a surprising thing of like, are the Brooklyn Nets actually like gonna be a competent team and better than we expected? Maybe it's not good for the Brooklyn Nets themselves because the Brooklyn Nets want a chance at a Cooper Flag or want a chance at star and don't want to win. But this also can be good because now guys like Dennis Schroeder, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, their trade value is going up, which means maybe you can finesse and get some extra things, especially for Dennis Schroeder. So this could be good in that regard. It's bringing confidence to this team. Maybe you can finally see, is Cam Thomas a staple on this team? Is he going to be one of our best players? What is he going to be for the future? Like, this is a good thing for the Nets. They're going to want to start losing eventually at some point, though. They don't want to be a play-in or playoff team at all. But it's been really fun. It's been really fun to watch this Brooklyn Nets team and see this team that no one expected to do anything. People expect them to win like 16 games this year, coming out, and they're actually really, really competent and can get you on some nights. My next disappointment, the Denver Nuggets are a one-man show, which is a disappointment not for us fans because we get to see the best player, arguably the best player in the world, have best player in the world type of games, but it's a disappointment in terms of contention for the Denver Nuggets. We knew the Denver Nuggets was going to be a little bit tough. No KCP, no Bruce Brown. They're relying on a lot of players that haven't had this opportunity yet to really help them try to win a championship. And so far, it's not been pretty. They're 4-3, but it hasn't been a convincing 4-3. Like, a lot of those wins have been against bad teams that got a lot closer than expected. Like the Raptors in overtime, they beat the Nets in overtime, Jazz and the Raptors again by 2, thanks to Nikola Jokic. Like their 4 wins have not been an amazing 4 wins, and the 3 teams they've lost to are OKC and Minnesota, 2 teams that you expect they're gonna have to get through if they want to go win another one, and then the Clippers. So it's been tough. It's been a one-man show over there, really. Nikola Jokic is giving you 29, 12, and 10 with a steal on the block on 54, 53, 81 shooting. Like, he is on his way. He might win another MVP this year, the way he's been playing. And he's going to have to because if Nikola Jokic doesn't play like Nikola Jokic, this team has no chance to win. Jamal Murray has been really tough. He's missed the last 2 games due to concussion, but even when he has played, it's been bad. He's shooting 37% from the field, 30% from 3. Michael Porter Jr. has getting it together a little bit. He's starting to hit some shots. Now we just learned that Aaron Gordon's going to be out for a little while due to a calf strain. Without Aaron Gordon, it's really going to be the Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. show. Christian Brown has been good this year. I mean, he's averaging 15 and 5. He's shooting 45% from 3. But if you're an opposing team, you don't really worry about Christian Brown. Russell Westbrook has had some good games. He's been good since putting into the starting lineup. But it's Russell Westbrook at the end of the day at this point, and we love Russ, but it's like, if Russ wants to shoot that many threes and all that stuff, go ahead. Then you got guys like Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, who have had, against that Raptor game on Monday, they had amazing performances, but how much can you really rely on those two to consistently do something like that? And then you have 36-year-old DeAndre Jordan. Dario Saric has been whatever. They're playing Hunter Tyson now, which I don't think anybody knows who Hunter Tyson is. It's been really tough. It literally has to be Nikola Jokic has to drop a 35-point triple-double for us to even have a chance to win. Not even just to win, to have a chance to win these games. We need Nikola Jokic to have insane MVP-like performances, which is not something that the Nuggets have been. The Nuggets have been fine with Nikola Jokic having 21 points and then winning by 15. Like Nikola Jokic has never had to be a 30-point scorer for this team, which has been a luxury. Because he can get in his bag and can have a 35-point game, a 40-point game if you need him to. But the luxury is I don't have to be a scorer because I have Jamal Murray, I have MPJ, I have KCP, I have Aaron Gordon, I have all these outlets that I can get to. Now he doesn't have that really anymore. So now Nikola Jokic has to be a 30, 35 point per game scorer for them to even be in games. I'm not even to win, to be in games. He has to have 30 or 35. So it's a disappointment in a sense of the Denver Nuggets contention, and can they might have to run Nikola Jokic into the ground just to make the playoffs, you know. But in terms of us fans, we get to see Nikola Jokic have some amazing performances, so that's fun. But in terms of Denver Nuggets contending and Denver Nuggets wanting to win another championship, I don't think this is the best way to go. And my final surprise of this year is Jason Tatum has something to prove, and Jason Tatum's coming out with a chip on his shoulder this season. Now I'm why it's a surprise to me is because we obviously know the Boston Celtics, they won a championship last year. They're the best team in the league. They still are maybe the best team in the league. Jason Tatum did not have amazing performances when what you consider when he's an All NBA first team type of guy. And this whole offseason has just been dragging Jason Tatum in terms of his shooting, in terms of he wasn't the best player on his team. He got benched in the Olympics and was the 11th man on the roster. It's just been bashing, 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 bashing Jason Tatum for no really good reason, you know? And a lot of people, and I maybe had the idea of maybe Jason Tatum was going to come out with a chip on his shoulder, but I didn't put money on it because I was like, I mean, the way he played last year, he played the way he played last year and they won a championship. So why really need to change anything, you know? But then we learned about him changing his jump and we're like, okay. And I expected Jason Tatum to be good still, obviously, he's Jason Tatum. But the way he's been playing this year has been a surprise to me because it feels like he's heard all the noise and it feels like he's coming out and being like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to show who I really am then. And it's been awesome to watch. And I'm really surprised that he's taking it this way, but I'm not mad that he is because right now he's having an amazing season. 37-5, 2 steals on 48, 35, 78 shooting. The Celtics are 7-1. And right now, if we have to do an MVP ballot, he might be my number one, at least number two or number three. Like he's in the top three, most definitely. But Jason Tatum right now might be my MVP because he is coming out and playing amazing. It feels like I gotta look this up right now because it feels like every first quarter he's coming out and just absolutely like balling out. I don't know where I can find it right now, but I mean I would assume that Jason Tatum is near the top or one of the top players in terms of scoring. Like it's just been crazy to watch him come out. It feels like every game. Yeah, Jason Tatum's averaging 13 points per game in the first quarter, leading the league. Like second at 10 per game. Jason Tatum has been on it. Like it just feels like the shot is there. I mean, he's shooting 35%. He's taking 11 threes per game, but he's shooting 35% on them, which is good for that amount of volume. He's 7-5. The rebounding is still there. The playmaking is just getting better and better. He's the best player on one of the best teams. He's been coming out with a chip on his shoulder with a fire lit under. You saw in the first game. The first game against the Knicks, he showed everybody. He showed the entire world. Oh, I'm coming for the MVP this year. I'm coming for that title this year. And it's been really surprising to me because I didn't think he was gonna come out like this. But it's been a treat to watch Jason Tatum just come out and kill everybody in his way. Like it's been, I love this for him. If he has this type of season the rest of the year and he finishes with an MVP award, then that can change a lot for Jason Tatum. Well, it does, but it doesn't. It does in terms of like the perception of him, I guess, but it doesn't because Jason Tatum has done like almost anything you can do at 26 besides win an MVP. So if he just wins an MVP this year, he kind of doesn't have, in a sense, he doesn't really have anything left to prove. And he shouldn't have anything left to prove right now because he's done so much. But in terms of just the fans and the media, for some reason, he has stuff to prove. But I love this. I love it for Jason Tatum. I really do love it, and I hope it continues just the rest of the year because that would be just a fun thing to watch. And the final disappointment we have is the Eastern Conference is super weak right now. Now this is an odd one, but if you look at the Eastern Conference right now, out of the 15 teams in the Eastern Conference, would you guess how many of them have winning records? You know, you would guess how many would have winning records, right? You have your guess? The answer, 2. 2 teams right now have winning records in the East, and that's the Cavaliers are 8-0 and the Celtics are 7-1. Out of 15 teams, 2 teams are above 500. Compare that to the Western Conference, 9 teams are above 500. The entire play-in, dang near, is above 500. You look at, and then in the East, you have 3 teams that are 500. The Heat and Knicks are 3-3, and the Nets are 4-4. So in general, you have 5 teams out of 15 in the East that are 500 and above. Compare that to the West, 10 teams are 500 and above. And then the rest of the teams in the West, you have 2 teams that are 3-4, Charlotte, Indiana, who are the 6 and 7 seed. Then you have 3 teams that are 3-5. That is Orlando, Atlanta, Detroit. The Wizards are 2-4. The Hornets are 2-5. I'm sorry. Earlier I said the Bulls and Pacers are 3-4. I'm sorry. The Bulls are 3-4. The Hornets are 2-5. Toronto's 2-6. Philly is 1-5. Milwaukee is 1-6. So the Eastern Conference has just been. It's just been everybody kind of ganging up on each other. Like it feels like no one could get a really good like run and lead because it's either if you're not the Cavs or the Celtics, you're a team that's going to be all right. We're going to win one game, but then we're going to play a Western Conference team and lose. You know, or we're going to play a team in the same kind of realm of us as us in the East, and we're going to lose that game. You know, it's also been that because Philly and Milwaukee have been huge disappointments. Philly, of course, has the injuries. The Bucks, we already talked about the Bucks. Orlando should be up there, but Paolo Banchero's injury. The Pacers got off to a really slow start this year. The Heat and Knicks are just kind of, you know, trying to figure things out. And then you have like the Bulls. The Hawks got off to a good start. They've been bad. The Pistons are the Pistons. The Wizards are the Wizards. The Raptors are injured all over the place. Charlotte's lost some really tough games. The Nets are competent for some reason. Like, it's been really weird, the Eastern Conference. Like, we know the West is better than the East. Like, we know that for sure. No one is even questioning that. But just, like, you only have 2 teams above 500 2 weeks into the season. Like, obviously it's going to change. Like, no way it's going to keep like this the rest of the season where only 3 teams are, like, 500 teams. That just is impossible. But 2 weeks into the year, 2 teams above 500. When in the West you have 9 teams. You have, like, 5 teams that are 4-3. The Thunder are 7-0. Phoenix and Golden State are 7-1 or 6-1. The East, only 2 teams. 2 teams that are above 500. Cavs and Boston. That's just a crazy thing. That's just wild, you know. And that's disappointing because the Eastern Conference, honestly, has been really top heavy. Like you think of Boston, New York, Philly, Milwaukee coming into the season. Now we're like, man, those 4 juggernauts. And you have the Cavs, could be a sneaky team that can jump up. The Pacers are going to be a good offensive team. Orlando's going to have this thing. You know, like the Miami always is a wild card. Like you're going to have a really good top 8. But right now, it's really just a top 2. It's a big 2, and then it's just everybody else. You know, but of course, obviously it's going to change. But right now, it's just a really odd thing to see. But yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in your comments what some of your disappointments and what your surprises so far this season. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.